It's time for another modification on the Z4, and this one's going to be a little controversial, but I just want to see what the car looks like, and I don't think it's going to be too bad on the car. It's something that was done a lot back in the day, but now with how easy it is to get LED strips and everything like that, it's easy to put underglow on your car. If anything, I can always take it off, but I don't think I'm going to want to. And Korjo is the product maker that sent me these underglow lights, so I want to thank them. And they are waterproof and super bright. They have really good reviews on them, so I have no doubt in those lights for them to hold up on this car at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use their cigarette lighter to plug it in and use that as a switch to use the underglow. So I'm gonna have it off most of the time, but if I ever do want to turn the lights on, I can with that cigarette lighter. Just either unplug it or plug it in if I want to use them. So this kit comes with everything you need. You do have the option of wiring it into your fuse box, and there's also different ways that you can do this. But the way that I'm going to do it, I think, is the easiest, and I already have a setup for it, so I'll run through everything that I have to make this possible. Okay, so here I went ahead and laid everything out. So here are the LED strips and all the wiring and the control boxes for those LED strips. And then you have the manual if you're questioning anything. It just has the app of what to download and how to change the colors and the effects. And here's the main kind of component here where we're gonna plug this into the cigarette lighter, and then we can just switch the lights on and off, which will be nice. Now, what I recommend is, especially if you have other things that you're using, like a charger, or even if you already have interior lights too, is this adapter that you can get from Amazon or Walmart. Here, if you guys can see, I have this adapter. It allows you to use more than one cigarette plug-in and also USBs. So that's going to be nice to have already. So we have that to use. So pretty straightforward. The biggest thing that we're gonna have to do is just jack the vehicle all the way up on all four corners. We also have this little assortment here that you can get at Harbor Freight just in case we need it. And then they also came with these zip ties and these screws just to clean up any of the extra wiring, which we'll see how it works out for this vehicle, but every vehicle is going to be different with the length and size of the vehicle. I also have this multi-tool here for electrical wiring in case we need it. So these are two extra things that you can have on hand just in case. Okay, so I went ahead and tried to untangle everything so I had straight wire wherever each LED went. So I have it all laid out here. The main control box is here that will wire into the cigarette lighter there. Here are the two front LED strips that will go under the front bumper, and we're gonna try to put that on the actual plastic of the front bumper where it won't scrape, because as you can see, I scrape a lot because the car's already kind of low. But then you can see the two side LED strips, one on the right going alongside the left side of the car, and on my left going alongside the right side of the car. And then if we keep going towards the back here, we have the two last LED strips here that will be going below here on the rear bumper. So the car's jacked up. We have everything organized here as best as we can. So now comes the part where we will clean the underside of the vehicle of wherever we're going to put the LED strips to make sure that's clean, so these LED strips stick and stay on. So that is the next step we're gonna do. And as you can see, there's more than enough wiring, so we are gonna have to kind of hide some of the wiring here. And a good thing that you can also do is use these twist ties and curl up the wire and hide it. So we'll go ahead and start cleaning up the underside of the car. Alright, so I'll show you guys what I have so far. I started in the back. So, as you can see, I have the LED strip going alongside the back here. I put on all the LED strips first. On the front, on the back, on the sides here. Then I'll show you guys on the front side. Here along the front. So putting on the LED strips first and then taking care of the cables by using zip ties and using the cross member bars to hide the wires. So back to the rear. What I did was take the extra cable, tighten it up, and put it on top of this crossbar. So your vehicle may be different, but on mine, I did that. And then I left the cable ties long, so you guys can see here where I put zip ties. And that gave it a cleaner look here. And then you can see the LED strip here. And I will show you guys the back as well. See, because here you can't really see any of the wires, but you're going to see one on the back. Left corner here. Here is the left side of the car, and this wire came through here. And then that's when I reached the crossbar and then zip tied it along that side. So it's a lot of cable management. It's kind of annoying, but that's something you're gonna have to run into with all these cables. But it's just hiding them and tightening them up and then using zip ties to secure them. And then when you go over here to the front, so just to take a peek back there again, you see no cables dangling down or anything like that. And then we come up to the front here, this cable goes up. This cable's kind of loose here, but like I said, I pulled on it, and then once I got to the crossbar, I was able to zip tie it down. And then there are my zip ties. And then you also have the cable from this LED strip in the front, and that came across here and then secured on the same crossbar here, and then tightened everything up. So you will have some cables that are like this one here, that's just kind of there. But I did take off the splash guard. So the splash guard is going to go and even hide all these cables even more once I put the splash guard back on. But as you can see, I have the other LED strip here, And those cables, just like the other side, go along here and then finally to the crossbar, and that's where I zip tied everything again. And then just the same process on the other side of the car as I did show you guys on that side. So yeah, it's a lot of cable management and it takes a lot of time, like I said, just to get everything tight and secure and hidden. So just for my car, this is how it's looking like, but everything looks good. I got everything secure, and now I'm left with the control boxes here and an exposed wire here. And what we're gonna do is I tucked these two wires that lead to the control boxes here, because once you get to the other end, which is basically the end of the wire from these two LED strips on the front bumper, you have these wires that go together all the way to these two control boxes, and these two control boxes are what I'm gonna feed up the engine into the firewall of the car. So I'm gonna try to manage all these wires and just feed them through here all the way up to the top of the car. And mine is on the passenger side here, so go through the firewall here so that I'm able to wire it to the cigarette lighter. So I'm not sure where I'm gonna feed these wires. Probably towards the back here by my downpipes, but we're about to see here. Okay, so I fed through the wire over here through this little hole, and then under here behind the heat shield, and then fed it through the firewall. I had to take apart the glove compartment a little bit right behind it just so I could get the wire through. But then I fed it alongside here and up to my adapter. So it's all wired up. I just have to put the splash guard back on and secure my firewall harness here. Put it back to normal. Basically, I can pinch the wire. It won't be too bad. It won't really matter. If I wanted to, I could also make a hole, but I think it'll be fine. So the key's in the ignition, and now we have the lights on since I plugged in the cigarette lighter. So you can see the strip is on all around. Back here too. I might have put these LED strips over here too far back. I feel like once I put the car back down to the ground, you're gonna be able to see the LED strips, which I don't like, but I can adjust those later on. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean everything back up and show you guys the final result. All right, here's the final result. So you can see right now I have it on yellow. It's kind of hard to tell on the camera, but it lights up the whole left side of the car and the whole front end of the car, even though the front two strips are a little shorter. Then you got the whole right side of the car lit up. And then finally the rear. You do want to be careful on the rear because It looks good right now, but I feel like I put it too close to the edge. So on the rear, if I'm right behind the car, you can kind of still see the LED strips, which you don't want to do. You want to make it so you can't see the strips and you can see the light. So I did go too far back on one of the strips. The other one's fine, but it still looks good. It's all done. If we go back onto the passenger side, I'm also waiting for my garage light to turn off and it'll be even brighter. But I have that all cleaned up. I just ran the wire through into my connector that I showed you guys earlier. So everything's cleaned up there, put back together. I also put that firewall cap back in. Here we have the firewall plug back into place and secure. So this is all sealed up right there, which is important because that's your harness. Here's the wire for the cigarette lighter. So just following that through once again, going down towards that area over there, avoiding any of the really hot stuff. I guess another thing that I could do is wrap that wire in heat resistance. So I don't have anything like that right now, but as of right now it's okay. But here we go. So I'll just wait a little bit here for this light to go off, and then we'll see how much brighter it is.
I'd like to kiss you, but I just washed my hair. Bye.
Just LED strips. You definitely don't want to drive with these on. You will get pulled over right away. But it's just cool to have in a parking lot. Or just say screw it and on the road sometimes. Also, since I'm filming on my phone, I can't really show you guys the app on my phone. But an easy way to get right to the app, which is what I did, in order to change the color of the lights and the chasing effect, if you want to do any of the extra chasing effects or anything like that, just scan this QR code and it'll bring the app right up, and then you can just download it. And here's the information of the lights. So you'll connect to the lights via Bluetooth, and once you're connected via Bluetooth, you can connect to the lights through the app. So then you'll be able to actually change the colors and anything else that you do want to do with the car. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I will put the link of those lights in the description so you get these lights and you know that you're getting the brightest ones you can for a pretty cheap price. They're only $70 with shipping, so it's definitely worth it just to make your car stand out a little bit more. And like I said, you can turn it off whenever you want, so it doesn't have to be on. You just click the button on the cigarette lighter and it'll shut them right off. So you have that switch built into that. But yeah, Korjo, thanks for the lights. They turned out really good. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side.